Qi is the foundation of many healing arts. Qi is the foundation of many traditions in China. Life is from energy. Life is from Qi. And how about Qi? Where does the Qi come from? From love. From love of the universe.
What does Qi feel like? A buzz, tingling. You're so excited, full of energy that you want to be playful all the time.
When the Qi flowing, you can feel like warm, expand, some tingling. Because Qi, when you move, it also have a power to heal.
When you're doing Qigong, what you're doing is cultivating life force within your body. You become a conduit for information, for new information to come into the body. And you connect to the Qi of the earth and the sky. You're simply a conduit.
In Taoist practice, you're harnessing this light, this energy, this Qi. And so when we cultivate that energy from within, that compassion, that joy, that love, we can shift our state, shift that emotional state into something that's elevated and not constricted.
Learn to shift from externally focused, searching for happiness, searching for meaning of life. You go inwardly, recognizing you have more access to life inside of you.
It's a discipline, a healing art, a way of training the body and mind, a meditation in motion, a medication in motion, a way of conditioning the body for martial arts, for sports, improving strength, stamina, balance, and coordination.
Yoga practitioners and teachers love Qigong. The Qi focus turns their attention to a much more awakened internal sensory awareness.
There's a sense of resting in a very natural, open, spacious, clear, luminous energy which then carries you spontaneously and creatively through the movements and the flow.
Therein lies the ability of practicing Qigong to build up incredible force in the body for rejuvenation, longevity, self-healing, and healing others.
Qigong for everyone.
Qi is love.
All these chronic diseases are imminently preventable, and there's mountains of research on the fact that all these chronic diseases are preventable. My earliest lecture on this the cost of medicine was 1 trillion. Now it's 4+ trillion. It's embarrassing. And check this out: 75 to 90% of disease and medical visits are preventable. And this is according to our own most impressive, although not that impressive, health organizations like the National Health Service in the UK. These organizations are supposedly protecting the citizens of the United States from chronic disease. No, that's not happening. We've had that discussion. But here's the most important thing, is that on an annual basis, we could be saving somewhere around 90% of $4.5 trillion. That's $3.5 to $4 trillion. So why is this not happening? Well, we know it's because people are deluded into believing that they don't need to do or think anything about taking care of themselves, because when they get sick, they can go to a doctor and the doctor will fix them. And that is ridiculous.
So we're going to cross the oceans again to our friend in Kansas, Bill Douglas. And Bill is the founder of World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, which is at the end of April, the last Saturday. And I think that Bill has done this for several years, and we celebrated or made a tribute last April, for 25 years. Incredible. So, Bill, I'm delighted to see you again.
You too, Keith.
And I look forward to listening to you for the next session. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. One thing I want to lead off with is this book, The Gospel of Science, second edition. And I'm not trying to sell it. I'm trying to give it away. And so on World Tai Chi Day all day, you'll be able to get this, the Kindle ebook version for free. And then also on the following Saturday, May the 3rd. And so everything that I'm going to be talking about, all the science is meticulously endnoted in here. So you'll be able to go to the web page if you get the book, and you'll be able to see the source data, the studies, the articles that all this science came from. And that's really important to get out to the mind-body community. So I thought I'd start this with a quote, and I think it was Bertrand Russell, but I could be wrong. And he said that truth is always simple, but humanity will stampede all over simple truth to get to something more complicated. And what this journey, this has been like getting close to a 50-year journey of Tai Chi and Qigong, and also just mind-body practices in general, because like, I know I'm not the only person, but over these decades practicing Tai Chi and Qigong, I've become aware of yoga and mindfulness and different meditation techniques. And you start to realize very quickly that they're all part of the same family. And what the data shows is that what they all have in common is they're able to bring the brain waves into the alpha brainwave state. And then when we practice it on a regular basis, we tend to operate more in a gamma wave consciousness, which is a higher level of consciousness, which the science seems to show what it does is it plugs us into the internet of existence so that we're open to greater insights and information. And so what all this science in the Gospel of Science, second edition, leads to is the irrefutable realization that most of the world's problems could be solved by educating public education students, kindergarten through 12th grade, in mind-body practices. And so my research into the science, it started in my classes because I had doctors in my classes that were healing and getting off of different kinds of drugs and recovering from injuries and stuff. And so then they started handing me medical research. This is before Google, or before I knew about it. And this stack just got bigger and bigger. And so one thing to realize, one thing that's so important for the mind-body community to realize, all of us, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, is the science is already in on this stuff. The idea that we have to have a certain amount more science before we realize that we should be educating public education children in mind-body practices, that's just not real. The reason that it seems like it's real is because our mass media, and in the United States, our government to a large extent as well, the regulatory agencies, they just willfully ignore this because they're pharmaceutical driven. And so let's just look at just one thing that we're all painfully familiar with, the COVID event. What the science showed was that the frontline healthcare workers who had high T cell counts, they were much less likely to contract COVID. And if they contracted it, they were much less likely to suffer severe symptoms from it. Now, what the data shows is that mind-body practices profoundly increase T cell counts on a large scale. And so we could be teaching school children all over the planet how to keep their T cell counts elevated, because they stay pretty elevated up to about age 7. That's when we lose touch with the alpha meditative state. As children, we're just naturally in an alpha meditative state most of the time. That's what the brain scientists explained to us. And so we could be teaching kids how to stay in touch with this, just very natural state of being. and dramatically boosting global immunity. One of the studies that I cite in the book was a university study, and they taught the swimmers on the university swim team how to do Qigong. And the Qigong group, compared to the control group of swimmers, had 85% less respiratory infections. So let's just, if we could just all realize the science is in. And one thing that I want to point out that a lot of people don't get, and I get to it in the book as well, in the Gospel of Science, is that scientists put their careers on the line to study mind-body practices and consciousness, because that is a taboo subject for researchers. And when you get into the book, you'll see what I'm talking about. And but they've done it. They put all their lives into just uncovering this science that you don't get through mainstream media, and you don't get through the medical community, because it's all pharmaceutical driven. So what we could be doing is we could be, according to Dr. Herbert Benson's research at Harvard, who was kind of a catalyst for me, as well as Ken Cohen's way of Qigong, where he approached this mind-body as a scientific, on a scientific level. But Dr. Herbert Benson's research showed that between 60 and 90% of the health issues sending people to the doctors are caused by stress and best treated by mind-body practices: Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. And then a Kaiser Permanente 20-year study found that somewhere between 70 and 85% of the health issues sending people to their doctors were caused by stress. And so by educating public education students in mind-body practices, and we could do it with a 1 hour, what we're recommending through a United Nations, non-binding United Nations resolution, is we're advocating an hour a day where they would bring local Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation, mindfulness teachers into the classrooms to teach children at age-appropriate ways. And that'd be really easy to do. So like for kindergartners, first graders, second graders, third graders, you could be teaching them animal Qigong, fun things. It has to be fun, because that's what takes you into the brainwave state that you want to achieve. And so how could schools do that? Well, they could contact local mind-body teachers in those 5 categories, and they could bring them in and interview them just like they would for any other job. And they could see, how they deal with the kids, and, do they approach it in a way that works well with their school. The other thing too, as I mentioned earlier with Stephen, is the Muse headband, which is relatively inexpensive, and it shows when you're going into alpha state. It gives you instant feedback. And so we could, schools around the world could be using the Muse headband to see whether the techniques that they're bringing in are actually helping kids get to the alpha state, because that's where all the magic happens. And so this could be very easily done. It's like one of the things that organizing World Tai Chi Day has taught us is that there are effective mind-body teachers in virtually every city all over the planet. It's all in place. And so what we want to do is we want to use the United Nations General Assembly as a vehicle to get the science that's already there out to public educators worldwide. And public educators, if you go to globaltransformationproject.org and look at the science, you'll see what I'm talking about, or if you read the Gospel of Science. And as far as from an educational standpoint, how do we sell it to educators? Well, regular meditators, IQs improve by 20 points. Any teacher in the world who could look at a study like that and go, oh, we don't want our students to have 20-point higher IQs. I don't think you're going to find any rational teacher that's going to think that way. And then at the same time, while that's happening, they're improving their GRE reading skills, their math proficiency skills, their verbal fluency skills. All this is documented. It's in the Gospel of Science, and it's endnoted, so you can become aware of this. Mind-body, the mind-body community, we have to get educated on the science that already exists, that's not being given to people through the mass media and through the government institutions. And in my hospital classes, the biggest challenge that I have with patients or students coming into my classes is that they won't believe that these things will do what they do, what science has shown they will do what they do, because they haven't seen it on their news station. And the reason they haven't is because Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, for example, he doesn't report on the huge breadth of possibility of mind-body, because at the end of every one of his newscasts, it says, brought to you by Pfizer Corporation. And there's money to be made. There's massive money to be made off this dysfunctional education system, health system, and also prison system. In the United States, we imprison more of our people than than any country on the planet Earth. And our violent crime rates are actually at 40-year lows. And I get into all this in the book because that's actually related to the spread of mind-body practices around the planet. But we have this high imprisonment rate. And when I taught at Folsom Prison, and that's what really got me started on looking into the consciousness of mind-body practices and the quantum physics and the chaos mathematics that shows how this changes the consciousness of the whole planet. And at Folsom Prison, they had a Tai Chi Chuan program for 2 years. And during that 2 years, the Tai Chi Chuan program participants, their recidivism rate went from the normal 70% return to prison rate down to 30%. And not only that, but during that 2 years, the incident rate, that's the misbehavior rates, fights, all those kind of things, the incident rate went down for the whole prison. And this has been replicated in other prisons. There was a Mexican prison called Apodaca Prison, and they had a horrifically violent incident. And then they taught the whole prison how to meditate. Everybody, prison guards, administrators, everybody. They haven't had a violent incident since that happened. And so we could be emptying our prisons. We could be cutting trillions of dollars. This is all data driven. It's just that most people don't know about it, and they're not going to know about it if they don't dig for it. Now you can read this, and you can get this for free on World Tai Chi Day, and you can have all this science meticulously endnoted to make it easy for you to get what you're not going to get from the government and what you're not going to get from the mass media. But we could be transforming the planet, saving trillions of dollars every year, year after year after year, trillions of dollars. Imagine what the world could do with trillions of dollars year after year after year. We could be emptying our prisons, reducing violence and conflict, and also creating much more intelligent and creative students coming out into the society. All this is possible, and it's all easily done. Okay, so now why did we choose the United Nations General Assembly to use it as a vehicle to help expedite this vision and this possibility? We did it because in 2014, the United Nations General Assembly voted to create the International Day of Yoga. And it was patterned after World Tai Chi Day, which we all started 7 years before. And I think that's a real feather in the cap of the Tai Chi community, because the Tai Chi community had the vision that it was time for the planet to know about all this stuff. And we educated together, coming together as a Tai Chi and Qigong community, we educated over 1 billion media viewers and readers on the science of Tai Chi and Qigong, because we have that database at worldtaichiday.org that has medical research on Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation, mindfulness for 100 of the most common health conditions that people face. So we taught people how to get a media microphone, get media to show up at their events, and then use that microphone to educate the public about science. And we reached over 1 billion media viewers and readers. And then we also got government bodies all over the planet to advocate Tai Chi and Qigong for their citizens. And so the United Nations, 7 years later, after we organized World Tai Chi Day, they created the International Day of Yoga. And they did it to increase global health and global harmony. And so we cite that in our draft resolution for the Global Transformation Project to urge public educators all over the planet to look at the science. And when they look at the science, they'll want to bring local mind-body teachers into their classrooms, kindergarten through 12th grade. And what you'll have is you'll have a whole generation of mind-body masters. And so the reason that this is so doable is that when that resolution passed in the General Assembly, that International Day of Yoga, it passed with a record number of co-sponsoring nations, 177 co-sponsoring nations. Never before had the world come together around something like they did for the International Day of Yoga. And the Global Transformation Project, public education, mind, body, and public education is the next step. And so Angela and I, who founded and organized World Tai Chi Day, we are volunteering ourselves, we're committing ourselves to lobbying every United Nations mission on the planet to co-sponsor this resolution for advocating mind-body education in public education. And we'll contact them all. And we've got a proven record of global organizing from just what I've just told you about the government and the media. And so we're able to do it, and we're volunteers. We're volunteering our time to do it. And if you read this book and you look at this science, you realize that we're offering a profound gift to the world, and especially to the mind-body community. All these qualified teachers should be in the public education. Different people, some people teach better with older kids, high school. Some people are good at teaching with younger kids. I've taught at all levels, and you can change, you can modify and incorporate, aspects of all these big 5 mind-body practices and create something that's really fun and really beneficial to kindergartners all the way up through 12th grade. And so we could use the United Nations as a vehicle to get this information out to public educators around the planet who aren't getting it through their healthcare system, and they're not getting it through their mass media. And we could do an end run around all that stuff. And so I'll just close with Bertrand Russell's quote, "Truth is always simple, but humanity will stampede all over simple truth. They'll build prisons and they'll build pharmaceuticals and they'll build all this complicated stuff until the end of time because it makes a lot of money. Prisons make a lot of money in the United States. But the solution is simple. The solution is so simple. And we've got a vision. We've got the science to back it up. This is 40 years of work that we've done. And like I said, we're giving it away on World Tai Chi Day. This is free on Kindle all day long. And then the following Saturday on May the 3rd. That's the best we can do, is to put all this together, give it away, and volunteer ourselves to do this. Now, we're not going to do this until we have at least 100,000 signatures at globaltransformationproject.org on the petition, because we need the soul force of the mind-body community. And this isn't just poetic. When you look at the science, there's a reality to that. When people come together in states of consciousness around compassion and healing, there is a real physical force to that. It actually affects the planet. Now, we've got about 2,000 signatures on that thing, and I've been begging the mind-body community, the world. I've been contacting everybody. John Kabat-Zinn, Transcendental Meditation Foundation. It's not being grasped what the possibility is here. If we got the mind-body community spreading globaltransformationproject.org and spreading this petition, we should have millions of signatures for me and Angela to take to lobby all these United Nations missions. This is doable. We could change the future of humanity, but we can only do it when we come together. That's how World Tai Chi Day happened. It was a shared vision by people all over the planet. Yeah, me and Angie had the idea. It came to us in a meditation, probably a gamma wave consciousness where, oh yeah, if you get people to come out and be a public spectacle with their Tai Chi, you'll get media cameras show up. You'll be able to use all that science to educate people, teachers that are getting the media so they can educate the whole planet. But it was a collective vision. And that from, these years of trying to make this happen, to trying to get the mind-body community aware of this science, and trying to get the mind-body community to have a real fervor to get this petition signed in a massive way, because you have 2 volunteers that are willing to give their lives to make it a United Nations resolution. And so that's pretty much my pitch there, Keith. That's one thing I wanted to mention real quick that I had intended to mention is Sharon has a documentary coming out, Quantum Chi. And this is, when this comes out, we should be making sure everybody knows about it. Everybody's spreading this. This documentary, what it leaves people with is what Sharon is so skilled at is taking profound esoteric realities and truths and putting it in an artful manner so that you're literally feeling a chi state or a wu wei state when you're watching this documentary. And it will leave everybody with this feeling in their mind, oh, I need to be doing this stuff. Or those of us that do it, it'll be leaving us with, oh, I need to do this stuff more. I need to, rededicate myself to these things. And so this documentary can be a huge vehicle for the planet. And I hope everybody promotes it, just like I hope everybody promotes the petition at the Global Transformation Project. We're all sisters of the same vision here. We're not competing interests. What I want to do is promote Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation, mindfulness teachers all over the planet. That's what I've dedicated my whole life to. It's not coming to Bill Douglas to try to figure out how to do your stuff. What I provide is the science that shows what everybody is doing out there is tremendously valuable. And Sharon's documentary can do that as well. We should all spread it as much as we can.
Global namaste to you all, and to all my Mandarin speaking people, ni hao. It's a pleasure to be here. And Bill, you know, I just want to say something about Bill Douglas. What passion, what commitment. I'm so honored to be working with him and looking forward to the day when quantum Qi is out in the world and people are practicing Qigong, Tai Chi, and all of the, well, we have a lot of yoga practitioners on the show. And then we can make another film about the Global Transformation Project. I really see, I worked in schools for many years and bringing dance and storytelling and mythology from all over the world. And the children, they love these body-oriented techniques. They loved yoga. They actually loved meditation. And when I think I didn't have Qigong in my toolbox at that time, but I can only, any child that I've had the opportunity to work with Qigong, they are just, because they love the animal frolics and the Tai Chi, and they love, you know, understanding about energy and looking at energy of each other, learning them to perceive in a much deeper, actually more spiritual, connected, inner way at each other.
Yeah, you know, you're right on the money. And what I've realized, you know, what the science has shown me is that what mind body does is it brings those children home to their natural state because they're naturally in that alpha state. And that's another thing that's been kind of a real experience for me, is that I've had a chance over, you know, these nearly 50 years of mind body practice and teaching a lot of it, is that my grandchildren came along. And so I was able to see, you know, to try to start to expose them to these practices at a very early age and see how they just resonate to these things if it's taught in a way where they can resonate to it. And one of the things that I realized that's so important about getting this into public education as rapidly as we can, and the UN resolution is the fastest way I can think of to do it. But my granddaughter, when she would come over to my house, she was in alpha state. She was so curious. She was so excited about life. And that's what you see when people, you know, when 80, 90-year-old people practice these things, they get that exuberance of life. They start to see the magic in life again. And then what happened was my granddaughter brought over her first iPad tablet. And she was over at our house, and I said, "Hey, Harper." And normally when I would say Harper, she'd be like, "What? You know, what are you going to show me? What are you going to show me?" Well, she's looking at that iPad, and I go, "Hey, Harper." She doesn't answer. I go, Harper. And she looks over at me, you know, from her iPad, and she goes, "What?" And I realized what's going on here. And this is a huge thing. This is a huge thing for the planet, because if you go through the supermarket or Costco, you're going to be seeing kids glued to those screens. And we could change all that. If we come together as a global mind-body community, we can change this. Because as I mentioned before we turned the cameras on, this is the most important science being done in the history of science, according to Nikola Tesla. And I don't think there's anybody in science that could argue with Nikola Tesla. And so, you know, these people should be on all the major TV programs talking about the science that we expose people to in this extraordinary series that's Dr. C.J. Rhodes and Siobhan Hutchison have made possible. And it's just, you know, we organized World Tai Chi Day, which Princeton University Director of Research showed how we had actually changed global consciousness. But I've got to tell you, you know, even though we've experienced doing Tai Chi with the whole planet for 24 years now, and that we actually changed global consciousness, this discussion series has been like the most spectacular event of my life. To have the ability to sit here with these folks and talk about the most important science being done in the history of science. And this platform provides data and science and information that has profoundly changed not only the way I do Tai Chi and Qigong and meditation, but the way I teach Tai Chi and Qigong and meditation, and the way that I do everything in my life. This has been truly life transformative for me, to be exposed to all this data and all this information about these mind-body practices that I've been doing for 45 years. And I don't think there's a mind-body person on the planet who wouldn't experience the same benefits that I have from this discussion series. So it's really important that everybody share these videos that we produce for free. One of the things that that we got involved with was, you may or may not be familiar with it, I don't know, and there may be different versions of this. I'm not trying to just promote this one company, but there's a thing called Muse, a headband that'll sync with your phone, and then it can detect your brain waves, and then you can find out when you're in alpha state, essentially, or the percentage of time you're in alpha state. And that was extremely helpful. And then, you know, as we, you know, became aware of all the science that was just showing that it's really a huge miss by humanity not to be teaching kids how to do mind-body practices starting in kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. We have a United Nations resolution. Everybody can sign the petition to advocate for a non-mandatory, suggestive United Nations resolution advocating mind-body education K through 12 in public education worldwide. And what we're advocating is what we call the Big Five, because they have, you know, in some cases millennia of research behind them, but they have a huge. All right, so the book's free.
Yes, Bill, somebody just downloaded it, so that's wonderful. It's a huge book, chock full of information. So thank you, Bill, and wow, that was an amazing video.
Yeah, the concept of it is just so massive. It's like I can't really believe that I actually spent 40 years on that. I don't know. If I saw somebody doing that, I would have thought they were insane. But here I am, and I did it. And
well,
yeah, and it's life transforming.
Thank you for doing that. So, Bill, it's almost 6 o'clock. You know, do you just want to take a question or two, and then we'll wrap this up?
Yeah. If anybody's got one, I just wanted to, you know, just make sure everybody gets that free book. And you know, all I can do is write it.
You can unmute yourself, and we only have a handful of people on right now, so you can unmute yourself and talk to Bill. I should bring up next month, we have another great speaker, and let me just get to that. So March 10th, Sunday, March 10th, 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to mispronounce his name, I'm sorry, Dr. Vasios. He's a senior researcher at the Physics of Complex Systems at the department, it's the University of Brussels. He conducts interdisciplinary research on self-organization and emergence in complex matter, as well as aspects of the foundation of complex systems. And the topic is encountering the tipping point, what we've learned from the first quarter of the century of complexity. So I have to admit, I'm not really clear what this is about, but it sounds exciting. And he is a great researcher, and we're so pleased to have him next month.
Yeah, these the opportunity to do this is extraordinary, and like you saw with me on the basketball court, it's changed my life. I mean, it blew open the doors so that I can really see the potential of these mind-body practices that I practice. And it's not about what I practice; it's what mind-body teachers are teaching all over the planet. But the science shows what it can do for us, and so it really opens the barn doors of possibility with that stuff. And the potential is huge. It's just really hard to convey it to folks these days because the media just gives this really dismal view of possibility for humanity. And once you get away from it and you start looking at all this science, you realize that all that is cartoonish. It's not real. This grim, dismal reality. But people love it. In my classes, when I start, in my classes, when I tell people that violent crime rates are at a 40-year low, I'll get people that'll get mad at me because they have such an intimate relationship with the media that has given them a distorted picture of reality. And so breaking loose of this limited consciousness is the first step to awakening to the fact that we have such incredible potential with our mind-body practice, with our lives, and with the future of this planet.
We should point out that the FBI recently had a report. It was made public that the crime rates are reduced, and I live near Philadelphia, and to me it sounds like every day some murders happening, whatever, and they're saying even Philadelphia the crime rate went down really low. So it's not just hearsay. And the FBI's reporting it, but that did not make the news, did it?
Now, if it doesn't make you frightened or upset or angry, you hardly see it on the news. There's really not much information to be gained from mainstream media. You have to actually, kind of dig in and look for truth. And I do. I spend all my time, trying to analyze personal health situations and also, societal and global situations. And it's way different than what you get from the mainstream media. And it's all fear-based, what you get from the mainstream media. It's meant to trigger stress chemicals. And so the more we can get away from it and, actually seek real information instead of just titillation.
To find the answers by meditating, by getting into oneself. Does anyone have any questions for Bill? It's now after 6, and I don't know how much longer we can record this. So before we leave, does anyone have a question? And I hope you come back on March the 10th, and I hope you order the T-shirts. I put everything in the chat.
I'll be giving the book away again on March the 10th, by the way, but you can get it all day today. Until midnight tonight, Central Standard Time, it'll be free on Amazon Kindle. But I'll be giving it away again at the March event.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to try one more time. Anybody else? We're getting a lot of big thank yous. People are very appreciative of the program, Bill. And thank you so much to you and Angela for creating both the World Tai Chi and Qigong Day and the Global Transformation Project. So unless you have any other further gems, we'll just tie this up, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I have questions.
Yes, please do. Mm-hmm.
Hello? Excuse me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. Nice to see you again. I have one question. Beginning time, I didn't hear clearly. You said World Tai Chi Qigong Day is the second organization of UN.
25th year.
No, World Tai Chi and Qigong Day was created first. It was just a completely grassroots thing. But then years later, the United Nations General Assembly voted to create the International Day of Yoga, which media calls World Yoga Day. So they patterned it after what we did, but it was done through the United Nations. Ours was just completely grassroots, and it was years before the UN did it.
I see. So what's the status right now for this project?
The Global Transformation Project?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're committed to contacting every United Nations mission on the planet, starting when we get 100,000 signatures on the petition at globaltransformationproject.org, because it's going to be a ton of work. It's going to be expensive to contact every mission in the world. We're going to call them, we're going to email them, we're going to send them letters, we're going to follow up, we're going to make this thing happen. but we don't want to invest that massive amount of work unless we have at least 100,000 people sign in their names so that we have soul force behind us. Really, we should have millions of names. I mean, God knows how many hundreds of millions of people are, lives are benefiting from mind-body practices, but they don't know about the petition. So it's up to each one of us to make sure that everybody that we know who knows the value of Tai Chi and Qigong, groups that we belong to, organizations that we belong to, Facebook pages that we belong to spread this petition, because I can't spread the petition all by myself. I can do all the work with the United Nations, but I depend on everybody else to start spreading this petition. And, it's growing, but it should be growing a lot faster.
Bill, can I recommend what I'm doing on my signature line of the emails I have the link to sign the petition in my signature line.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So and Bill, you get my emails. So everybody.
Well, that's why I signed the petition, because you said had that in your email.
Everybody can put the link on their email, and that's how these things spread.
Yeah, we have to spread it ourselves. The social media algorithms, they don't promote solutions. You can see the data on all this if you look into it. No, they promote conflict, because that creates more chatter on social media. And so solution-oriented things, we don't get bumped up in the algorithms. It depends on people who see value in what we're doing, spreading this stuff, with people they do. And for me, that all comes really naturally. It's like anytime I've come across a book that was, important or momentous, like Dr. Herbert Benson's book or Dr. Roger Nelson's book or Bruce Lipton's book or whatever, or Alan Watts, it was like I was telling everybody that I know, I wanted everybody that I know to know about that book or that movie that was inspiring or that documentary. And it just amazes me that other people don't do that with what we're doing.
We also did a lot. Actually, you did very good, Mr. Douglas. All of you, I'm amazed whatever you did. You for 25 years, that's not easy.
Well, we can do a lot more. This global transformation project, this could change the planet, change the history of the planet.
Yes, that's right. We're greatly stronger supporter. We're strong supporter in here in Washington, Seattle. We really dedicate. And last year, the governor Jay Inslee, he signed the proclamation for this Tai Chi Qigong Day in Washington. Thank you.
I remember that. The governor of Washington.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's right. So
we've had 22 U.S. governors proclaim it. Yeah, but through all those organizations, if you can get them all to start spreading the petition, globaltransformationproject.org, we've got to start gaining momentum on these signatures.
Right now, it's 22 governors.
Yeah, we had 22 governors proclaim World Tai Chi and Qigong Day.
That's great. Yeah, so that's how many signatures right now? Signatures.
We had an original petition that had about 1,000, but now we're gathering a new petition so that we're able to contact people, and so that one's almost up to 1,000. So we've got about 2,000, so that's 98,000 to go. But to be honest with you, I'll be really disappointed if we only have 100,000. I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. 100,000 will be able to get me, get some UN missions to be able to pay attention. But my God, with all the people that are benefiting from Mind Body, it takes about 8 seconds to sign the petition, and it takes about 15 seconds to put it out on everybody's social media. The Mind Body community should be spreading this petition. I'm perplexed that it's not happening much faster than it is. Yeah.
It will, Bill. You've done it before. You and Angela have done it before. It will.
Yeah, I just forgot how long it takes.
Bill.
Yeah.
It's not. We think positively. It will not take that long.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We are strong supporter. Yeah,
it already happened, Bill.
Yeah, that's right. It already happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna call it a night. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. We'll have
a great weekend.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank
you for signing the petition, everybody, and we'll have a recording of this on the website. And Bill, thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If I can reach the stars, shining on my heart so you could see the truth. And this love I have inside is everything it seems. But for now I find it's only in my dreams that I can change the world. I'll be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world. If I could be king, even for a day, I'd take you as my queen. I'd have no other way. And our love will rule in this kingdom we have made. Till then I'd be a
Before we close, I was going to lead something, but I really, since we have you here, Bill, I know Wai Ching's been on for hours and then we have a big meeting coming up, so I'll let her rest. But Bill, would you like to give a little meditation?
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Okay, so let's all just let our eyes close easily and gently. Feel the tip of the tongue lightly touching the gum line behind the top two front teeth. And that sensation brings us to here and now. And more into the heart-centered consciousness where we're feeling rather than thinking. As we just enjoy the sensation of the cool waves of breath filling us from the abdomen all the way up into the airy fibers of the lungs. And on those sighing exhales, the mind, heart, and body just begin to let go of the illusion of separation. We breathe and allow space for that lightness and that openness to permeate the mind and the heart and the field and the body. Letting go of all the tangles and the limitations. And opening to the possibility, the very center of the mind, knowing that it's safe to let go, to lose track of who we are and what we are, so that we can allow this endless unfolding of possibility to expand through our lives and our hearts and our minds and our field and our planet. And knowing that mind-body practices are the thing that's going to lead this planet to the place that we want to go with. And it's not that they're the answer, but they're the technologies that help us let go and allow that childlike possibility to unfold through everything, every structure, every part of the planet, and through the global consciousness of the planet, which is a real scientific thing. And as we breathe and let go of our fears and our limitations on every level, and allow space for that limitless unfolding lightness, we'll all be finding our way to flow through and become part of this expanse of mind-body practices that are coming through these beautiful events like Sharon's coming documentary and all the work that all you people are doing here with Healing Our Earth, and World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, and International Day of Yoga, and World Peace Meditation Day. And we're letting go of all the tangles and the limitations because we know that this is time to happen. It's time for the world to become aware of this. They need it at this moment in history. And we can just let go and flow and open and connect and know that we're all part of some big, expanding, healing force that we're riding on like surfers upon the waves. And we can just breathe and float in this pure safety, this pure light, this pure, elegant unfolding of possibility that we're all part of all the time. Every time we breathe and let go and open. All right.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to thank every person who has come to this episode today. I very much in gratitude to Keith Sharp for putting this together and bringing in his diligence and all of his abilities in producing the show, and Neil Kumar and Nishit Kotak and everyone involved with Healing Our Earth